Welcome back, you guys, to Spiritual Bae Podcast. I'm your fave spiritual bae, Monique. Thank you for being here. Thank you for letting me be a part of your day. Okay. We're not going to waste any time. We're going to get right into it. Listen, I need us as spiritual girlies, he, she, they, thems, to stop acting like we have no effing power, behaving as if we don't possess the divine and conscious energy flowing through all of us to create and navigate this 3D bullshit. There is a lot of fear mongering. There's a lot of people sharing information online globally about what's happening globally, especially here in the US. We got this tariffs thing going on, and it's going to create shortages to some degree for products and goods. And there's companies from China all over TikTok sharing the biggest secrets of large corporations, brands, and what it actually costs them to purchase and make there in China. And that aspect, I love it. But the fear that is coming with the energy of what's happening in the US and trade wars. I saw a clip of a video on YouTube. It was called Trade Wars, and it broke down what's happening and what could possibly happen in the US if there becomes a shortage of goods, which it might. And to be quite honest, we can stay informed. We can be informed about what's happening because regardless of our spiritual practices and beliefs, it does affect us in how we live in modern society, right? But moving through this whole ordeal in fear is not going to solve the issue. What's happening in our nation and globally, a lot of it is out of our control, because the systems that are in place and the governments that control everything, what can we do besides find other ways, resources, tools, and using community to get what we need? What is it called? Co-op living, and they're buying land and they're building tiny homes, and or they're using resources within the area that they're building these homes on. But my point is that for our entire lives, they have used propaganda in the media, and they have shown us and given us information that they want us to focus on, right? And so if we can redirect our focus onto things that really matter, like we're healing continually, right? We're learning to be more accountable. We're learning to move in integrity. We're learning to move through authenticity. We are creating in our spirit the ideal life that we would like to live. And I'm going to be honest, there's a lot of people, not just in the US, but globally, who are already doing that. And they're living off grid, and or you have tribal communities all over the globe who don't even have access to the luxury goods, products, and services that we do. And they are fine. And I'm not saying that that's for everyone. And I'm not saying that everyone needs to focus on building bunkers and shelters and things like that. I'm just simply saying that we need to redirect our attention and focus to the things that we can control in our reality, in our individual lives, and who we connect ourselves to as far as community. Their ultimate goal is always to keep us in a perpetual state of fear. And I made a video about this on TikTok the other day. Keeping us in a state of fear is how they harness our energy. It is what gives them the motivation to do the things that they do. And I'm not saying that it is our fault that they move the way they do, but we know that these governments and systems are corporations first. And so what does a corporation do? The business always is going to do what's in the best interest of that corporation. And the people who work under it are always going to do what is the benefit of said organization. And so when we get online and we make an uproar about how we feel about these things, that's fine, because awareness is key. That's how we find each other now. We find each other online first before we meet in real life, right? And so that is our new normal. And it's okay that we share our opinions and get it off of our chest, and to help each other feel less alone through sharing these opinions and perspectives, right? I just forgot my fucking point, y'all. I think my gummy just kicked in, so forgive me. Sorry, not sorry. But anyway. But one of the points that I wanted to make again is that I'll say this. I've been online creating various platforms, podcasts, video casts on YouTube since 2019. And the pattern that I have always seen is something happens in the nation and or globally, and we all go into an uproar, and we're sharing our opinions and our perspectives and how we feel about it, right? And then something else happens, and it creates all of these emotions, anxiety, sadness, hopelessness, and this cycle that we constantly go through with these institutions, with our government, what they say that they do to help the nation and help the people. But again, all corporations move with the intent to protect that organization. And so even the way our government is so far up Israel's ass is astounding. It leaves me flabbergasted. But what can we expect them to do? They are protecting their interests. They are building allyships with countries, regardless of what that country is doing to other people, destroying lives, taking lives, tearing down communities of people who have been around for hundreds, thousands of years. And it's all in the name of money, power, and control. None of these governments are worth two nickels rubbed together. I've been saying it for years and I'll keep saying it. They are all in cahoots with one another. Nothing that they do should greatly surprise us. When we really take a step back, get out of the energy that is being created collectively, and look at it from both an ego mindset as well as knowing what we know as spiritual girlies, he, she, they, thems, we can see clearly where we are is exactly where they want us to be. What they do, what they don't do, they're doing it because they want to. They're not doing it in the name of the people. It's never been that way. This entire nation and many other nations are built on blood, sweat, tears, and the unaliving of millions of people over and over and over again throughout history. This patriarchal systems that we live in and that we are forced to live in just makes it harder for us to stay aligned in our spiritual paths and to stay aligned in our spirit selves. I just find it interesting that people are not hip to and or just like being in the midst of all the fear mongering and the anger, and we have good reason to be effing angry. But as spiritual girlies, he, she, they, thems, we know the kind of power that we possess energetically. We can do magical shit in the astral. And it's high time for all of us spiritual girlies, he, she, they, thems, to stand in that energy and create solutions and constructs in our mind's eye through visual meditation, however you want to do it, in the astral realms when you're sleeping, through astral projection and things like that. But we have more power than they do. And it seems that they are more powerful than we are because they have the money, the resources, and their own community. And we know that they work with darker energy that is not alignment with divine consciousness. We know that they're constantly siphoning our energy through media and through policies that they pass. And we don't need to fear, because at the end of the day, we get to choose how we live individually and sacrifice when the resources are low, We know how, look, let me tell you something. Years ago, when my husband and I first got married, within like the first 6 years, we were living in one state doing business in PA. We closed down a bunch of businesses that we had in the restaurant industry. And we were having a lot of issues with other business owners that were jealous, that would try to report us for dumb stuff, etc. And we just decided, you know what? The energy here is not in alignment. It's not working anymore. And so we closed everything down. In the house that we were living in, we had a huge yard sale and estate sale to get rid of most of what we had as much as we could in a short frame of time. And we came back home to the DMV, and I think we sold like 2 of our vehicles. We had like 4 or 5 at the time. And we sold 2 of the vehicles and got down to a work truck and 1 other car. And we rented for like the first 18 months that we were back in the DMV until we could find a property to purchase. And we sacrificed where we needed to in order to rebuild and establish a new energy around the life that we wanted. And so my point is that regardless of what's happening around us, being informed is fine, but not staying in that energy is the key. And I tell that story because it's a perfect example of not letting whatever trials and tribulations you're going through to stop you from meeting the goals, to stop you from trying again, to see, here's the thing, and I'm sorry. I'm all over the place at the moment. I have so many thoughts and I'm trying to get it all out, you guys. So bear with me. Fear at the root, we know, is coming from a feeling of not being safe. If you don't know, now you know. So when we see the root cause of whatever we're feeling emotionally, mentally, and energetically, getting down to the root is the difference between standing in your power and allowing the negative things and people around you to control how you behave in your energy and or whether you do nothing at all. And so you get to choose. I get to choose. We get to choose what we need our next steps to be. And I've done, we've packed up and moved like that and sold shit when the energy no longer feels right wherever we're at. We've done that 2 or 3 times. Like it's nothing. Because when you get to a certain point in your awareness and integrating all of who you are, you realize that I am the key. The key is fucking me. It's been me all along. Isn't that what shadow work is? Part of it, at least. You know, shadow work is doing a lot with the suppressed things that we don't want to address that have hurt us in the traumas and things that have happened to us. But it's also about integrating and being able to pinpoint the root issues of things, right? And no matter what is happening, all we have to do is just take a moment and be like, you know what? No, I got to snap the F out of this shit. And not snap out of it and dismiss it, but snap out of it and say, okay, why am I uneasy right now? What is the basis, the root issue, really? And most of the time, when we become stagnant, when we become complacent in dysfunction, because that's what we're living in. We're living in a dysfunctional ass society, y'all. We are in an abusive relationship with governments and organizations who only seek to further themselves. It is not for the collective benefit. It is for the collective benefit of the circles and networks that they're in, but it's not for the collective benefit of the people. It never has been. The U.S. government was established on blood, sweat, tears of indigenous, African, Caribbean, South American, who else was here? anybody who was here during the time before the Industrial Revolution and things like that, right? It was built on evil practices and principalities and ideologies and beliefs. So we can't expect them to do nothing more than what they've already been. That's why getting upset, while I understand, but also duality in everything, nuance, right? So while we can be upset and we can work through those emotions, but we have to be able to regulate and to see the larger picture in what's happening. We get fucking tricked every time when something major happens. We get tricked every time, and we allow ourselves to be sucked right the fuck back into the matrix bullshit. And I'm done with that. I'm so done with it, because unless we are speaking about it to create awareness and solutions in how we can help the globe and our own nations energetically through spiritual practices, what is the fucking point of us even being so much in outrage? Fear cripples us collectively. We are magical, powerful, divine, conscious beings. And we need to fucking start acting like it everywhere that we go. The duality of being a spiritual girl, he, she, they, them, is that sometimes it's going to be love and light. Sometimes it's going to be neutral. Sometimes you might have to crash out. We need to be taking our power wherever the fuck we go and channeling that energy to transmute the energy in the spaces and places and people that we are around. We have the power. They have the external power, the shit that doesn't matter, the shit that somebody could just come from another country and blow the fuck up in a day. And then what are we left with? Ourselves. We're left with ourselves and each other and the energetic power that we possess that connects us to all living things of the light and love. We cannot let what's happening in the world around us cripple and stifle us in our spiritual selves and our 3D selves in our everyday life. I don't think we're using, like my spiritual mentor, Natalie, I don't think, she says it all the time. She was like, we're not using our imagination enough to build and create constructs for us to move through life. For instance, before I'll go somewhere, I'll take a moment channeling my energy through divine conscious light and my connection to that and clearing out the energy before I get there, sending that building or that place in that space love. Come on, we got to start doing these things, you guys. It's time for us to get back to using our fucking power. In the spiritual community I'm a part of, the Weirdo Collective, I'll link it in the description below. We do all kinds of group constructs together. We meet each other in the astral realm and do work together at night. The shit is amazing. It's phenomenal. And the energy is here. The light is here. The love is here. It's waiting for us to just tap the F in. We have the power, y'all. We will be all right. They're going to do what they're going to do. They've been doing it. Nothing new under the sun, y'all. Just a different timeline, or at least this current timeline in 3D, while also simultaneously living in other timelines. And so we have that kind of power. We can also use that energy to construct and create the life we desire. And fuck what everybody else got to say. Those that have an ear to hear will fucking hear the shit. And if they don't, that's on them. We can't carry the burdens of others. We can't carry the burdens of what's happening globally. It's not meant for us to carry that burden. It's meant for us to transmute it and alchemize. It's meant for us to do good with it, to create solutions energetically. Because what we do in the astral to help us ourselves individually and our families and our communities, but we can also do things that help the entire globe, that helps Mother Earth. All we have to do is tap in. And of course, doing shadow work and being about our healing shit creates space in our spiritual selves, which creates space in our 3D selves to harness the fullness of our psychic abilities, clairvoyance, sentience, clairgustance, all of these fucking gifts and energy is just sitting here, but we are focusing on the things that we know that they already going to do. It's really quite effing simple. They're going to continue to do what they want to do that protects the best interests of their organization and the networks and people connected. Now, this doesn't mean we should be living in poverty and not going out and creating businesses and being a part of corporate America, because we do have to still live in 3D life. We do still have to live. Now, I commend anybody who can do the off-grid thing, because that's probably the best solution for all of us to tap out of that shit. And if we're in community near each other or close to each other doing the same thing. But the fact of the matter is, we're not all in the same place. We're not all in the same countries. And so we have to figure out how best we can move through 3D life while incorporating the spiritual aspects to make things better in our reality. Like the reality that I live in, you guys, I am so unaffected by what's happening out there with this global bullshit and this matrix BS. I am so far disconnected from it, and it feels amazing, because at the end of the day, where there is darkness, there is also light to some degree. In some instances, we're not talking about demons or nothing like that, or negative entities and attachments. So while they're doing that BS with the matrix and going to war with other countries and supporting wars and all kinds of other atrocities, we over here in the other consciousness, staying grounded in love, staying grounded in light, and staying grounded in hope, in joy, in healing, in growth, in evolution of self. Yeah, I'm done preaching for the day, y'all. I'm done preaching for the day. But I hope this helped. Okay, you know where to find me at on TikTok, on YouTube if you would prefer to watch sometimes and or listen in the background. Make sure you drop them comments, like this video, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend that you got a new spiritual bae, okay? To come check it out, spiritualbaepod@gmail.com. If you have any questions, if you'd like to share your healing and evolutionary wins, and or if it's something that you're struggling with, if you have a paranormal experience that you'd like to share, and maybe I'll possibly share it on the show, okay? spiritualbaepod@gmail.com. Hold on to hope, y'all. Hold on to love. Hold on to your power. We gonna be all right.